March the 20th, 1995. The Tokyo metro was the scene of an attempt at mass murder. The attackers released the nerve agent Sarin, a chemical so powerful that in its pure form, the tiniest droplet is enough to kill. This was the first ever use of a weapon of mass destruction for terrorism. The group behind the attack turned out to be a new Japanese religion called Om Shinrikyo, or Om the Supreme Truth. For them, the murder of so many civilians was not an attempt to gain publicity for their cause, but a religious act, a holy act. This film will reconstruct minute by minute what happened from 7:46 to 8:46 in the morning, as 5 men set out to gas the Tokyo metro. It will explore the bizarre motivations that led to the injury and murder of so many innocent people. It will show a carefully coordinated plan of mass, indiscriminate destruction. March 20th, 1995. Some 9 million commuters are making their way into the center of the world's largest metropolis. Hidden among these anonymous faces are 5 men, each holding an umbrella with a sharpened steel tip. In their bags, they carry packages of sarin liquid, wrapped discreetly in newspaper. In their pockets, they each have a hypodermic syringe containing 2 millimeters of atropine sulfate, an antidote against the nerve agent. They plan to release the sarin at 8 o'clock, 14 minutes time. What is remarkable about these 5 men is how educated and literate they are. Masato Yokoyama is on board his train, the 5th car of B801 heading into central Tokyo. He is 31, a quiet, well-spoken graduate in applied physics from Tokai University. Yasuo Hayashi is 37. He is carrying 3 packages of sarin, when all the others only have 2. He volunteered for the duty, keen to prove his loyalty. He has a degree in artificial intelligence from Kogakuin University. Kenichi Hirase waits nervously for his train. He is just 30, and an important member of the cult's chemical brigade. He is holder of a postgraduate degree in physics from the elite Waseda University. Akua Hayashi, at 48, is the oldest of the team. He is wearing a mask. It is not uncommon on the Tokyo subway. It also helps to avoid identification. Five years before this fateful day, he resigned his job and left with his family to join the cult. He used to be a senior cardiologist devoted to his patients. The 5th attacker is Toru Toyoda. His train will arrive in 10 minutes. He assisted in the secret manufacture of the sarin that the team are carrying. He is a fiery young man, aged 27, with a top honors degree and an MA in applied physics. Sarin, in its pure form, evaporates into a colorless gas 26 times more deadly than cyanide. It suffocates, chokes, and blinds the victim. The attackers are synchronized to release it in 10 minutes' time. It's Monday, and passengers are still remembering the pleasures of the weekend that has just passed. There is no thought of what is about to happen.
I was in quite a good mood because the next day would be a national holiday. I was going to visit my father's grave with my sister-in-law, so I was planning to call her from my work to arrange to meet up.
I was a jeweler at that time. I was a healthy and happy 28-year-old. I went to work. At night I'd go out drinking with my friends. What glorious days.
For the metro staff, this is also an ordinary Monday.
We never imagined we would have a gas or terrorist attack. I had never even used the word terrorist before.
As the terrorists travel invisibly among the station attendants, the salarymen, and the secretaries of Japan's rush hour, this, for a few more minutes, is a city at peace. The chemical agent Sarin has only been used once before as a weapon, by Saddam Hussein to gas thousands of Kurds. Now these terrorists are about to release it in the confines of the Tokyo metro. Kenichi Hirase will later confess to being struck by the tragic implications of what he is about to do. At the last moment, he has an intense desire to leave.
I was envious of the people who could just walk out of there. But I told myself that this is nothing less than salvation. The teachings tell us that human feelings are the result of seeing things in the wrong way. We must overcome our human feelings.
These teachings have been devised by a man who claims to be a manifestation of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and rebirth, and the Christ-like Messiah. He is the cult's half-blind guru and founder, the charismatic Chizuo Matsumoto. Members know him by his holy name, Shoko Asahara, and believe he has superhuman powers that include mind reading and levitation. In 8 years, he has built Orm up from nothing to a flourishing organization with 40,000 members worldwide. But the core of his support lies in Japan. Hirase and the other terrorists follow his teachings, a mixture of pseudoscience, Nostradamus, esoteric Buddhism, and apocalyptic Christianity. Orm tells its converts that they will rise above the ordinary mass of the human race.
中学に入ったあたりから、能力開発というか潜在能力として人間
When I was at high school, I started believing that human beings have hidden powers and that we can develop these hidden powers. Then I came across a book by Orm.
This promotional video promises to be the key to developing superpowers and the opening chapter of a wonderful life. Asahara's recipe for empowerment is for his followers to hand over their wealth to his safekeeping and reject a world that has been polluted by materialism.
特にこの現代のように物質に縛られた魂は、身体に縛られた魂は必ずや地獄へ真っ逆さまに落ちるんだ。
私がオウムに入っていた当時の、
I was a believer in Aum Shinrikyo.
主義に対するオウム真理教の
I believed that capitalism was evil.
人間というのは、心
The most important thing for human beings are our souls. And when we fixate on material things, our souls decay.
どんどん心が貧しくなる。
Orm believes that the source of this decay is America, which is enslaving the world. Even the Japanese government and the emperor are under its thumb. It's only a matter of minutes now before the attack will commence. The release of the Sarin will be both crude and dangerous. The devotees have to puncture their packets in front of dozens of potential witnesses. They must then make good their escape before the Sarin can contaminate them. Yasuo Hayashi, like the other attackers, has renounced his previous life to become an Orm priest. He is a member of the inner circle of some 100 or 200 members who are privy to Asahara's plans. The mission holds no fears for him. All he has to do is follow the Guru's teachings. Masato Yokoyama is as devoted as Yasuo Hayashi. All disciples seek to remove what they call corrupt data from their mind and replace it with pure data from the mind of the Guru. They fast, meditate, and listen repeatedly to tapes of Asahara's sermons. This pure data is now telling the 5 attackers to kill thousands of innocent people.
オウムの信者というのは基本的にはですね、
Believers in Orm were never allowed to think for themselves.
グルと言われ
The
る
Guru Asahara was absolute.
朝原将校と言われる人ですね。彼の言うことが絶対です
We
ね。
were taught that if you think his teachings are wrong, it is because you, your heart, has been corrupted.
思ったらそれはお前の心が歪んでるせいだと。
As Orm's so-called Minister of Healing, Dr. Hayashi has become a key figure in cleansing the hearts of initiates. In ceremonies known as Christ initiations, the doctor gives disciples drinks laced with LSD to rid them of corrupted thought patterns. Asahara himself regularly takes large amounts of drugs. Indeed, such are the quantities that Orm use, that it's manufacturing its own LSD.
The effect was incredible. My hands felt like rubber balls. My body became numb. I felt sick. I was totally confused. I had been given it without being told what it was. But this was the initiation from the Holy One.
Toro Toyoda gets on his assigned train. He is the last of the attackers to board, and he is perfectly calm. Like all members of the inner circle of Orm, he has undergone another form of training, the PSI, or Perfect Salvation Initiation. These headsets, developed by Orm technicians, pass low-voltage currents through the brain. The aim is to implant Asahara's thought patterns directly into the mind. He has no compunction about following Asahara's orders. The trains the attackers are on have been carefully chosen for targeted destructive effect. The 5 men are on 3 lines, arteries that intersect at Kasumigaseki Station near Tokyo's Metropolitan Police Department, and the heart of the Japanese government. If all goes as planned, the 5 subway cars will be spreading the deadly gas as they crisscross the busy intersection in another 7 minutes. 8 o'clock, the moment of attack. Despite his doubts, Kenichi Hirase steels himself and finally decides to place his sarin. In his panic, he fumbles. No one intervenes. He successfully punctures both bags. Yasuo Hayashi is having a pang of conscience. He will later recall,
I didn't want to do it, but I knew I couldn't run away from it. I just had to do it.
he punctures 2 of the 3 bags. Toro Toyoda successfully releases all his sarin. Masato Yokoyama only manages to puncture 1 bag. It will prove to be the least damaging of the attacks. Dr. Hayashi is the last to attack, but he has second thoughts, as he will later tell police investigators.
When I looked around, the sight of so many commuters shocked me. I'm a doctor, and I've been working all my life to save lives. If I release this sarin now by puncturing the bag, many people could die. If I unleash the sarin here and now, the woman opposite me is dead for sure. I thought a number of times that I should stop, but I couldn't go against orders. I told myself, this is just a yoga of the Mahamudra, of a true enlightened master.
He also punctures only 1 bag before leaving the train. This is a silent attack. The metro control centers have no idea it's happened. The full effects of the sarin will not be felt for several minutes. The 5 trains continue their journey towards Kasumigaseki and police headquarters. Japan is one of the most law-abiding countries in the world. The idea that Japanese citizens would ever commit such a large-scale and indiscriminate crime seems unimaginable. The attackers plan to rendezvous at their hideout in the Shibuya district of Tokyo. They will then return to Asahara at Orm's headquarters. The attackers themselves have no desire to experience the effects of sarin. According to plan, they carefully rinse the tips of their umbrellas. Kenichi Hirase's clumsy delivery means that he's been contaminated by the sarin. He is already feeling symptoms. He reaches for his antidote. All the attackers know that there is a risk that this might happen, but the inner circle and the guru himself believe this is a necessary risk. Beyond the pseudo-religious rantings against the corrupt world, There is an ulterior and very practical motive for this morning's operation. Just 2 days before this attack, on March the 18th, Asahara received a tip-off from 2 of his disciples serving in the Japanese army. They've told him that Orm's base is about to be raided in connection with ongoing police inquiries into complaints against Orm. This morning's attack is intended to head the police off. Asahara has no intention of claiming responsibility. Instead, he calculates that the police will target other potential culprits, and that the attack will be so devastating that they'll be sidetracked and disrupted for months to come. It's not the first time that Asahara has tried this tactic. The year before in Matsumoto, he succeeded with another preemptive strike. It was also his first use of sarin. A local landowner was taking him to court. Fearing that he was about to lose the case, Asahara attacked the trial judges. At night, armed terrorists drove a specially fitted truck into the district where the judges lived and sprayed out sarin in atomized form. 7 people were killed and 144 rushed to hospital. The judges were among the injured and were unable to attend court to deliver their verdict. Asahara's tactic worked. The police pointed the finger elsewhere.
We didn't have any idea that this incident had any link with Orm. At that time, our chief suspect was North Korea. They were our most dangerous enemy.
The terrorists drive off, unspotted, into the Tokyo traffic. Asahara has staked the fate of his religion on the heads of these 5 men. But the haphazard way that they've punctured their sarin means that the impact of the 5 attacks varies considerably. Masato Yokoyama only punctured 1 of his sachets, and that only with 1 small hole. The sarin is hardly leaking, and there are no serious incidents, though people are already receiving minor sarin poisoning. By contrast, Toru Toyoda's sarin is evaporating rapidly. At Roppongi, a couple of stops after Toyoda released the sarin, the effects take hold on the commuters. Sarin gas drifts invisibly through the crowded carriages. Normally, sarin is odorless, but the Orm chemists have not purified it enough. And some smell an odor like mustard, others like burning rubber.
Suddenly I felt that my eyes were flashing or sparking, as if I were looking at fireworks in the night. Then I couldn't see anything. It felt as though somebody put a black cloth on my head. At that moment I thought to myself, I'm going to die.
As the sarin eats away at the body's nervous system, some passengers go into spasm. Others collapse unconscious. "13 minutes after the attack, the Sarin is spreading through the Tokyo metro. There are 40 to 50 passengers in various stages of sarin poisoning. It is made worse by the minute as the poison gas spreads onto the platform. No one has any idea what is happening to them.
I had seen many events, incidents and tragedies in my life, but I was never involved. They never happened to me. It was always somebody else. The fact that I was part of this tragedy was what I found most shocking.
Shunkichi Watanabe has collapsed dangerously close to the Sarin. When help does come, it's too late. He will die. Many passengers head upstairs for fresh air, but the Sarin is already in their blood, poisoning them. The Sarin used in this attack is just the tip of an extraordinary arsenal Asahara has been developing. Through Orm, Asahara has assets of $1 billion gained through donations and a range of legal and illegal activities. He has spent tens of millions on weapons programs. At their headquarters, Orm are developing the capacity to produce an incredible 70 tons of sarin to spray on Tokyo, an amount that could wipe out the city. Under Chief Chemist Masami Tsuchiya, they have produced in their laboratories phosgene, sodium cyanide, and the powerful nerve agent VX. Under Seiichi Endo, Orm scientists are also developing biological weapons, including the botulinus toxin and anthrax. Orm is also accessing military hardware from Russia. Kiyohide Hayakawa, Orm's number 2, has even purchased an army helicopter and made inquiries into nuclear weapons. Toro Toyoda's train is now 7 minutes behind schedule. With the sick removed from the carriage where the sarin was released, the station attendants let the train continue. Unknown to metro staff, the sarin gas is being spread along the line, just as Asahara has planned. In the minds of the 5 attackers, the people they are killing are not innocent bystanders. They are depraved and corrupt. The practical reason for their action may be to ward off the police raid they've been tipped off about, but they can also console themselves that this is a holy act, a crusade against the polluted world. There have been other similarly motivated attacks. 2 years before, Orm tried to assassinate what is viewed as the corrupt royal family. From the back of a van, Asahara sprayed botulinus toxin around the imperial palace in Tokyo. Asahara's deluded self-righteousness knows no bounds. And there is a further huge ambition.
第三次世界大戦がある場合、予言された私がキリストであるとするならば、逆にこの第三次世界大戦は私にとって、それからオウム真理教にとって飛躍の、つまりジャンプ台と何に違いない。
Asahara believes that if this attack on the metro can be blamed on America, it will be possible to trigger a world war and fulfill divine destiny. The apocalypse is coming. Only the enlightened members of Orm can escape the impending disaster. Toro Toyoda's train continues into the Hibiya Line platform at Kasuma Gaseki with its evacuated carriage. But passengers in other carriages are also affected as the sarin filters through the train. The train is now taken out of service, but the sarin is leaking into the station. At Kasumigaseki's Chiyoda line platform, Assistant Station Master Kazumasa Takahashi is trying to clear up a messy package which he has removed from a train.
主人はいつもその泊まりの勤務の時の夜に
He always called me when he was working night shift, and he had indeed phoned me on the previous evening.
19日の夜も電話をかけてきていました。で、その時話したのは
He wanted to talk about going away for our wedding anniversary.
が来る。その時に旅行に行こう。
The package is the Sarin placed by Dr. Hayashi. His train pulled into Kasumigaseki 10 minutes ago, and scores of ill people were evacuated before the train moved on.
高橋さん、どうしたんですか急に。これ実行の方です。大至急お願いします。意識なくしちゃってますね。はい、待ってます。高橋さん。
Throughout the station, people are starting to show severe symptoms of sarin poisoning.
People started to collapse. Then I had reports of people dying, no pulse, no breathing and so on. Reports that were getting worse by the minute.
On Kenichi Hirase's train, in Nakano Sakaue, similar events are occurring. His sarin has now been at work for 26 minutes. The authorities have finally been informed. Subway officials again step in. Takeo Fujimoto will die in hospital in 2 days' time. Tsuna Sakai will die in the next few hours. Assistant Station Master Sumio Nishimura removes the suspicious packets to a back office. He will be grateful that he is so careful with the sarin. Though he will be sick, he is extremely lucky to survive. The train, still contaminated by sarin, is allowed to carry on. Takahashi, with sarin all over his gloves, has not been so careful. His colleagues at Kasumigaseki Station take him to a back room. No ambulance is available to assist them. With calls flooding in from numerous metro stations, the emergency services are being stretched to the limit. The station attendants wait. The open bag containing the sarin continues to leak. On the 5th train, where Yasuo Hayashi left his 3 packages, the effects have been devastating. He made the most punctures of any of the attackers. A passenger pulled the emergency stop at Tsukiji Station. 8 passengers had already lost consciousness, and many others were seriously ill. The authorities, suspecting a gas leak, halted the train and evacuated the station. This morning's attack is evidence of the madness that has taken over all. Few dare to speak out.
If
Asahara doubted someone or thought they were a spy, then he would hang them upside down. If someone rubbed him up the wrong way, he put them into solitary confinement for a month. There were so many punishments, I can't describe them all.
Part of Dr. Hayashi's job as the Minister of Healing is the curing of deviants. They must be steered back onto the holy path. He frequently uses sodium pentothal on members who are suspected of being spies or just recalcitrant, and gives electric shocks to remove their memories. The regime is so brutal, it often leads to injury and even death. Numerous Orm members, some estimate 46, have been killed. Such ruthless discipline is one reason why all the attackers have gone through with their mission. The first team, Yasuo Hayashi and his driver, return to their hideout. They wait for the other teams, proud that they have completed their mission undetected. Yet this is an attack the police could have anticipated. In recent months, there have been numerous fingers pointed at Orm. After the 1994 attack on the judges at Matsumoto, the police did receive an anonymous tip-off.
Orm's Supreme Truth is guilty of the Sarin attack. It has the manpower, materials, money and motive to deal with this mad weapon.
However, there is a critical cultural factor that has blinded the police.
だからそういうそのあれがあるもんですから、過去の経験っていうのもあるもんですから。
Because of experiences during World War II, the police authorities and intelligence service were very cautious about investigating or monitoring religious organizations.
要するに何て言いますか、調査したり捜査したり。
It is not overstating the case to say that religious organizations became untouchable.
だからもうほとんど宗教団体はもうアンタッチャブルだった。
Nevertheless, suspicion has been building against Orm, and because of the raid they're planning on Orm in 2 days' time, the police are a key target. Police headquarters are right next door to Kasumigaseki Station, where the Sarin continues to leak out. By 8:46, 1 hour after the attackers boarded their trains, Japan is beginning to feel the shock. It will be nearly 2 hours, 10:30 a.m., before a military doctor diagnoses sarin poisoning. At 1:30, military experts in full chemical warfare gear are sent in with 100 troops. By this stage, hospitals all over Tokyo are jammed with thousands of sick and dying.
ものすごい人で、どこが診察をする部屋で、どこが廊下
It was so crowded that I couldn't figure out what was hallway, surgery or ward.
なのかということは全くわからないくらいに大勢の人がいた。
I was taken to a private room on the 8th floor, and there was a bed covered with a blanket.
8階の個室に連れて行かれました。そこには
I took the blanket away.
ベッドがあって、毛布がかかっていました。
I saw my husband laid out there.
そこに主人が寝かされていました。私は
I always believed that working on the underground was not dangerous.
こんなに冷たくな
I
って
just
し
couldn't
まう
believe
なん
he had
て
died.
とても信じられませんでした。
Many victims still feel the effects years later. Yuriko has to wear dark glasses to protect her damaged eyes.
はい、後遺症として一番最初は
The after effects. First, I suffered from asthma. But I've also suffered mentally and emotionally. I've had PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I never thought it would be like this. I've been suffering for 10 years. My life wasn't supposed to be like this.
Noriko used to be a checkout girl at a supermarket.
8年半病院の方に。はい。で、去年の9月の
Altogether, she has been in hospital for 8.5 years. Last September, she came out of hospital and she now lives with us.
去年の9月に退院ということで私たちと一緒に生活を始めま
By
した。
inhaling sarin, her brain was deprived of
中
oxygen.
毒による低酸素脳症というのが正しい表現なのかもしれませんが、
Now she can't walk,
一つの
so she's in a wheelchair.
このようにもう車椅子
She can't talk either,
喋ることもままなら
and
ない
she has lost her memory.
今までの記憶が一切ない。
Although many thousands suffer trauma and temporary injury, it is remarkable that only 12 people die and 1,300 are physically injured. The reason is that Orm have not purified the sarin properly. If they had, the deaths would have been in the thousands. Asahara still hopes to get away with his crime. In fact, for Orm, the game will soon be up.
ラジオでこのニュースを初めて聞きました。
I heard news of the incident on the radio first thing in the morning. My immediate intuition was that it had been committed by Orm.
The police will soon be galvanized into launching its largest ever peacetime operation. Asahara's ambition of stalling the police raid on the Orm compound failed. Two days after the attack, an unprecedented force of 2,500 police officers raided 25 Orm premises throughout Japan. Arrests were made. Chemicals, laboratory equipment, and boxes of documents were seized. Orm's technical facilities were uncovered. A Russian helicopter was found which could have been used for spraying gas across Tokyo. The pressure continued over the following months as the police clocked up more than 500 raids. More than 50 children were taken into care, many still wearing the PSI headsets. There was a massive manhunt for fugitive cult members. But Orm was not a spent force. On March the 30th, the police chief in charge of the Orm investigation was shot 4 times as he was leaving his house to go to work. He only narrowly survived. Asahara himself was finally arrested on the 16th of May. On the same day, the emergency services rushed to the offices of the Tokyo governor, where a letter bomb had blown up in the face of his secretary. Between May and July, Orm tried and failed at 4 more attacks on the Tokyo underground. 2 involving Zyklon B, used by the Nazis in their gas chambers. By now, arrests had reached 400. 192 were charged with serious crimes, including 41 for murder. Orm had been neutralized. After a protracted 8-year trial, Asahara was sentenced to death, as were 4 of the 5 attackers. The exception was Dr. Akua Hayashi, whose cooperation with the police had led to numerous arrests and Asahara's conviction. He has life imprisonment. The executions have not yet been carried out. Today's members of Orm now live in a small apartment complex in the suburbs of Tokyo. It has changed its name to Aleph and apologized for its actions. But former members of Orm still believe that Asahara's grip is as strong as ever.
人を殺した事件を起こしたことイコール即教団が間違ってるとは言えないんですよ。
Orm taught that we can't judge Asahara's
その
thoughts.
現在
Orm believe that even if they commit murder, it doesn't mean they have done something wrong. Almost all remaining members of the organization still believe Asahara had high ideals, and that we are just not capable of understanding them.
6 years after Orm's attack, the whole world woke up to the horror of religiously inspired mass terror. The parallels are extraordinary. Just as the West had underestimated Al-Qaeda, the Japanese had underestimated Orm. Both organizations had mustered huge resources. Both viewed the Western world as decadent. Both attacks were carried out by highly educated people. Both targeted civilians. Both organizations refused to claim responsibility. Both saw murder as a holy act. This was Japan's wake-up call. It foreshadowed a new age of mass terror.